to tap into that a little bit. Do you think there's a correlation that in the sunsetting of Christianity, certainly in the Western world, that we look for sort of messianic heroes in politics instead? So it started with, say, Barack Obama. Then it over here there was a big thing about Jeremy Corbyn. He was sort of paraded as this messianic kind of figure. At Trump in a different way, but equally it's super ideological, right? He can't do any wrong. He like, what was his quote? He said he could walk down Fifth Avenue
and shoot someone in broad daylight,
and he's right.
And no one would charge him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They'd probably charge him.
But I think he's, I hate to, I don't want to jinx us, but I think he's probably going to end up in jail. I think the betting odds on him ending up in jail are greater than they are of him ending up as president in 2024. So I will go with the bookies on that.
And how would you feel about that? Would that make you feel good?
How would I feel about that? I tend not to indulge in Schadenfreude because, like you, I'm kind of worried about my karma. However, I think I would go down the road to my pub called the Jugs, and I would buy everyone a drink. That's what I will do.
Yeah. But then 4 days later, after you pondered on it a little bit, you'd be like, well, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'd hold my hands up. I'd be like, I don't know if there's a word if there's an adjective to describe how much ejaculate.
A fire hose.
Yeah. No, that would be a good day. That'd be nice. I don't think I'd remember much of it after like watching the news. But
it's a kind of we live in a very, very weird time where everything is changing and everything is happening so fast, and it's impossible to get purchase on anything. And again, it's like the probably the most famous podcast so far has been Serial, which came out about 5 or 6 years ago. Was an investigation of a murder that happened in 1999 of a high school student in Baltimore. And it's a really, really beautiful, beautiful podcast because it kind of proposes a way, slyly, in a kind of underhanded way, that there is a kind of new way forward for thinking about the news, and it's a kind of new humanism which parks a lot of our old established notions of objectivity and detachment that were kind of hallmarks of journalism, but which are increasingly untenable. Everybody's got a bias. There's no such thing as a point of view from nowhere. And it kind of leans into developing relationships with sources and leans into being a real human being in relationships with other people, and is just kind of honest and open about that. So rather than kind of pretending to have an objectivity that is frankly untenable in the tail end of our postmodern age, it leans into that more human aspect of things, and I think that gives me hope. That makes me a little bit optimistic about where we might go, at least in some small scale way, in our own projects. You and your projects, me and my projects.
Yeah. Do you think maybe there's a place also for, there's a big focus on people taking a more humanist approach, taking a step back from some of the sort of fake reward systems, dopamine rushes from social media and so on, but do you think there's a place in media for more like left-leaning outlets? So like everyone, like myself included, everyone bitches and moans about the dominance of right-wing press in the UK. I think I counted the other week that 6 out of 8, maybe 9 British newspapers are right-wing in their nature. And so when they set the tone in the beginning of the day, then it actually begin with, like from day dot, like it's right-leaning. So like my question is, do you think a new left-leaning tabloid or a new left-leaning broadsheet is that likely, or are we through the looking glass now?
Dude, we don't need it. We don't need it. We have Aid Thompson and Other Disappointments. We have Unfucking the Republic. We have the Young Turks. We have Democracy Now! We have all of these wonderful things that are speaking to us in a way that we all get and in a way that the younger generation gets. So my students, they never watch the BBC.
Mm.
They never read. They don't know the Guardian from the Sun from the Mirror. They don't. They live in a totally different media universe.